Absolutely textbook day towards upside in the markets. Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is February the 9th. Absolutely beautiful day in the overall markets towards the upside. We talked about the previous day highs being that key level in the pre-market, of course. Nvidia, AMD, one of the main watches coming to market opens, played out perfectly on both. We'll go on to the live session here in a second. Let's first hop straight into the trading view charts. Today I have something special for you guys as well. I recorded my P&L on my interactive broker so you guys can see the executions, the thought process, where I entered, how I scaled my positions. If you guys do want to see more of this, let me know. It does take a lot of work to kind of combine the live session, the face cam. I didn't have my face cam recorded. The audio wasn't working today, but I did have my P&L recorded. So if you guys do want to see this more often, and the live sessions more often, of course, I'll try and post them at least once or twice a week, just so you guys can see the overall thought process of course, as an added bonus onto these trade recaps. But this is my P&L for the month so far. Absolutely fantastic. I've been trading very well to start off the year of 2026. Some of my best executions, right? The way I manage the positions, everything has been so solid, right? Nothing has gone really wrong. We haven't been in too much drawdown, of course, because the markets have been blessing us with a lot of opportunity, fairly straightforward, and we've been navigating it extremely well. So to start off February, up about $71,000 today. End up taking two trades, technically three, but two primary trades on AMD and Nvidia, of course, putting up about 16,000 to start off the week, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's go on to the exact trades that we took. Actually, before we do that, let's go on to the pre-market game plan. So if you guys don't know, I post my pre-market game plan every single morning. I actually do this, of course, in the pre-market on YouTube at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I post my game plan in the free community for you guys as well. So game plan February 9th, coming into market open. What I like to see is a reaction that we have off previous day highs on both the SPY and the QQQ. Main watches for today, Tesla, Nvidia, and AMD. Keep an eye out for the previous day highs reaction on all these names. As for the rest of the names, they're inside of the range, but primary thing was waiting for that first kind of 10 to 15 minutes to see what the markets wanted to do. And right off the bat, semis leading the way higher, and we had a couple nice setups for today. So number one, Nvidia trade. End up taking the 187.50 calls towards the upside. Immediate retest right off our previous day highs for this nice continuation towards upside. Took 90 contracts here. End up choosing the 0-day contract. So currently I've been kind of messing and trying to figure out the different expirations, because now, as you guys know, we have Mondays, we have Wednesdays, and we have Fridays expirations. Before, I was only taking the Fridays expirations, of course, just because that was the only option that we did have. Now we have 0-day contracts. So if you're trading on a Monday, of course, the Wednesdays contracts, there's not too much volume. The Fridays contracts are a little bit farther away, so they don't move as nice. So I've been kind of experimenting. We'll see. I'll give you guys more information once I do look at the options chain moving forward. But I'm kind of just testing out different variations of the strike price and everything else. I'll kind of let you guys know as I mentioned. But I ended up taking the Monday's expiration, the 0-day contracts. Absolutely beautiful. This really aggressive entry above our previous day highs. Straight push up and towards that 193. Contracts went from $1.50 all the way to $6. Absolutely beautiful. These are my executions right here. As I mentioned, I took 90 contracts here on Nvidia. I'll show you guys here in a second. But let's go into the main thought process kind of coming into market open. As I mentioned, the game plan was very straightforward today, right? All we're looking for here on Nvidia coming to market open, right? If you go into the daily time frame, what we have here, strong bounce off support. We're looking for a push back up and towards our key level of resistance, which is at 192.50. If you go back onto the lower time frames here, the key levels that we have marked out was, of course, our 187 previous day highs. Break above previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. Main game plan coming to market open. Within the first 5 minutes, extreme relative strength, immediate retest here off that 187. Nice continuation towards the upside. So entry was off that previous day highs. Very aggressive entry for that continuation towards the upside. And you can see straight push up and towards that 193.50, which was our higher time frame level of resistance. Of course, you're going to scale along the ways if you're playing 0-day contracts, but straight push up and towards that 193, absolutely fantastic trade to start off the day. Another setup that I ended up taking was, of course, AMD. This one, higher time frame, is still moving, but this one also exactly that previous day high retest. So absolutely beautiful. Took the 215 calls on that one. Was in a little bit lower size because I was already in Nvidia, but this one, fantastic trade as well, straight off that pre-market game plan. Levels that we had coming to today was, of course, our last week's key levels, which was our Thursday's highs. We had our Friday's highs. So two scenarios coming to today above our Thursday's highs, or of course above our previous day highs for continuation. Both of these levels played out super solid. As you can see, buyers stepped in right off the bat. All we were looking for was that previous day high retest, but you can see a couple entries on Nvidia. You could have been looking, on AMD, could have been looking for the 205, really aggressive. Could have been looking for the 207. The best one, in my opinion, was the previous day high retest, of course. And as you can see, break above, retest, continuation. And as you can see, super strong buyers stepping in. You could have been looking for that previous day highs, break back above, couple different entry models. But overall, what matters here is, of course, the context. If you're still holding some trailers, this one looks good for a potential push up in towards our 220. But that was absolutely fantastic on Nvidia and, of course, AMD coming into market open. Now, with that being said, let's go on to the live session for today. As I mentioned, I do have something special for you guys. Let me actually pull this up. Okay, so here's the live session that I have for you guys today. The audio was kind of messed up. The face cam wasn't working either. So I'm just going to do an overview. The only thing I have here is this one screen that I have recorded. Plus I have, of course, the broker executions as well, or the P&L that we have. So we're just going to go over the overall thought process of the live session. Let's kind of go on to Nvidia. We're already looking for Nvidia kind of coming to market open, of course. Other levels. Let me actually go into the QQQ. I didn't really explain the Q's game plan, but the Q's game plan coming to market open was looking for the reaction that we have off your previous day highs along with their Thursday's highs. We were looking for longs above our previous day highs or the potential bounce off this 605 coming to market open. And we eventually got that bounce off our 605, and then we ended up having that nice push towards the upside. So let's kind of talk about the thought process on Nvidia coming to market open. Let's kind of play out the tape here, or let's speed it up. Let's go on to 2x speed. Sorry, this is kind of blocking the P&L, or the executions is kind of getting blocked by this timestamp, but we'll make do. But basically, as you can see, I'm looking for Nvidia continuation towards the upside. Right now, I do have that 190 contract. That was the Wednesday's expiration. I end up just buying one contract on the other account just to see how the expirations are moving. But this was on the February 11th expiration. I was looking at the contracts and ended up getting away from it. So I just ended up getting that one contract. But as you can see for Nvidia, right off the bat, you can see Q's is dropping. Nvidia is showing a lot of relative strength. Now what I'm looking for here, of course, is that previous day high retest. I wish we had the live commentary, but basically I'm kind of explaining it here, right? Bounce off for 605. Nvidia is showing a lot of relative strength right off the bat. We're just looking for the retest off our previous day highs for continuation, right? Based off the higher time frames, we can be aggressive, but I kept on mentioning, right? Keep an eye on the 186 or 187.50. So 187.50 calls for this continuation towards the upside, right? You can see I already have it outlined beforehand. And all I'm looking for is the break above our 187, or sorry, break above our previous day highs for this continuation towards the upside. So let's kind of play out the tape here on Nvidia. We're at Q's bouncing off for 605 currently. Let's play the tape. Okay, so we closed above our previous day highs here. Now what I'm looking for is the flip, right? I'm looking for that previous day highs to hold. If you can see any sort of buyers, our risk is going to be a break underneath this 186 here. Waiting for the buyers, and bam. As you can see right there on Nvidia, buyers are stepping in aggressively off that previous day highs. So let's look at that one more time. But basically, you can see what I'm keeping an eye out for here is our previous day highs. Break above, and all I'm looking for is immediate buyers to step in. Right? It could dig a little bit deeper, continue higher, or the buyers can step in right off the bat. As soon as we showed that flip, that was my key entry. As you can see right here, as soon as price flipped back above, right? This previous high candle, my risk is just a break underneath. And now I'm looking for continuation towards the upside. As I mentioned, very aggressive entry here. Ended up taking the zeros, right? February 9th, 185, 187.50 calls. Ended up taking 90 contracts, average price around 160-ish. And you can see that immediate flip that happened, right? On the zeros, right? AMD flipping here as well. Q starting to flip bullish. Look at these contracts move, right? 166, one candle already up into 250 a contract, right? We're up nice here on Nvidia, 90 contracts. I ended up taking lighter position size, of course, because I was trading 0-day contracts, but you can see already that flip within 1 minute, already up about $6,000, 90 contracts, I risk very minimal amount, right? Just a break above. You can see already contracts up $1 con already within the first minute. And I look to take my first scales up into this first initial push. So you can see already within the first push right off the bat, you can see I scaled kind of 20 contracts, but immediate retest, get in on the flip, right? 160-ish average, nice push towards the upside. Already scaled 20 up into that first initial push, right? We're up a decent amount. We're up about $7,000 unrealized, of course, but I'm taking my first initial scales up into this push. Let's keep playing out the tape. There's no sound, there's no face cam, just nothing really here. So Nvidia, I'm looking to scale on most pops. I'm waiting for a new high of day to look for my next scale. Q's just made a brand new high there as well. Microsoft bouncing nicely off this 402. I'm waiting for Nvidia to make a brand new high of day for my next scale. AMD, as you can see, I'm marking out our pre-market highs plus our previous day highs here. I'm talking about AMD. Looks like a super solid setup here as well. All right, Nvidia's making a brand new high. Take another 20 off right there, making a brand new high on Nvidia. Right, as I mentioned, I'm playing the 0-day contract, so I'm scaling along the ways. So right now at this point, I'm out about 30, 40, I think about 40% of my position. I'm just scaling on most pops here since Nvidia is very bullish. No reason to sell as of yet. Q's just made a brand new high. AMD looks super solid here as well. I think I scale a little bit more up into this 190. Yeah, another 20 off there on Nvidia. So scale now, I'm out 66% of my position up into that first initial push up and towards 190. So realize majority of my position here, as I mentioned, I'm playing 0-day contracts. Now I'm leaving the rest for, of course, that 193. I was playing 0-day contracts. I had a really solid entry. Maybe I could have scaled a little bit less up into that 190, but overall, right, this was absolutely a fantastic trade. No complaints here. And I was just kind of scaling the rest up and towards that 193. But right here, as you can see, AMD. Now, Nvidia, I'm just looking for the maintain above this down close candle. AMD is another setup I'm paying attention to because we're looking for the break and retest off our previous day highs for continuation, right? Qs looks good. Nvidia had that previous day high retest. AMD, we're looking for that previous day high retest here as well. Let's just kind of speed it up. AMD, I'm looking for the break above. Let me see. Sorry, let me get rid of this. So AMD right here, basically I'm looking for the AMD previous day high retest as well. So Nvidia right here looks really good just for a continuation towards their 193. AMD reaction here off our previous day highs. You have this nice kind of buyer stepping in. AMD didn't look as good, of course, like compared to Nvidia, but AMD here, it was more based off the higher time frames. Right, what was key here? Let's just go back onto the lower time frames. Sorry, let's go back onto the higher time frames quick. Right, AMD, our key level here was our previous day high. Maintain above our previous day high, we can see a flip. The thing about AMD was higher time frame was bearish, but now we're just kind of looking for this flip above. Compared to Nvidia, which was a lot more bullish, that's why you can be a little bit more aggressive on this ticker because this one looks a lot more bullish on the higher time frames compared to Nvidia that recently had some earnings with a pretty big drop. So AMD was something we were keeping an eye on. Wasn't as relatively strong compared to the Qs, but the buyer stepped in, right? Just low risk setup. If it does want to go higher, right, you're risking a very minimal amount, just a break underneath this 209. So I end up only getting 30 contracts of this one. Smaller position size, as you can see, about $12,000. Of course, I'm trading the Friday's expirations since that's the only expiration here on AMD. But as for AMD, you can see the buyers essentially stepping in here nicely right off that previous day highs. Nvidia just keeps moving higher. AMD, nice pop on AMD. I'm already taking 5 off, right? I'm just kind of scaling along the ways here on AMD since it's giving us a nice pop up about 80 cents a contract here. Scaling some more. So already 30% off on AMD on that first initial push. Right, contracts, as you can see, up $1 and then basically sold another 10. So out about 66% here on AMD, already up into that first initial push. And then for the rest of my trailers, I was looking for 215. Kind of just speed it up here. Not really too much to talk about. Nvidia scaled up into that key level that I talked about, which is my final target. Absolutely beautiful trade. Fantastic on Nvidia. Made about $13,000 or $12,000, risking about there's no drawdown. Zero drawdown on Nvidia. AMD, very minimal drawdown on AMD. Both these trades basically worked out right in our favor. So no drawdown whatsoever on these tickers. AMD was just kind of holding my position above our 211, but at this point you can see Nvidia, I have one contract left. So I have one contract left, sold all my position basically up into this 193, just left one contract. And then for AMD was also kind of just scaling along the ways at this point up into that 214, 215, one contract or two contracts left here as well. So that was the live session for today. I know it's more of kind of like a recap since I had to kind of cut it up, but that was the session for today. Absolutely fantastic day in the markets. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. As I mentioned, if you guys do like these live sessions, kind of going over the thought process of scaling, have the P&L kind of shown up here as well. Let me know in the comments below. Of course, I'll try and do these every once in a while, right? Maybe once or twice a week. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.